Hi guys, you're watching Btekt, and it's pretty clear to see that folding phones are going to be the big buzz in 2019. So far we've seen quite a few different offerings from various manufacturers, but the most notable of the bunch of course are Samsung with their Galaxy Fold and Huawei with the Mate X. We'll see both of these devices later in the year, and they're going to come at a steep premium. You're looking at £2,000 for the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and even more than that for the Mate X, which really did surprise me. I was certain that Huawei would undercut Samsung, but you can pick up a Mate 20X for €2,299. There's a serious amount of investment that's going into producing these phones, and all that money is not really being spent on the screen, but more on the folding mechanism. I just want to say a big thank you to Direct Mobiles for looking after us at Btekt. It's a great place to go if you need a new phone. They have over 24 years of award-winning customer service and comparison tools to make sure that you're going to get the best possible deal on your new phone. Check in the video description and you'll find a link to their deals, or you can search directmobiles.co.uk. We've seen renders of the inner workings of the hinges, and from an engineering point of view, they're works of art. Both the Samsung and the Huawei seem incredibly complicated. The Huawei having over 100 individual components, so that's over 100 new and very expensive toolings to produce these individual components. New manufacturing processes would have to be designed, and for the companies themselves this is very expensive. Huawei's hinge does seem to be a little bit more complicated, allowing the device to close flat. Samsung's doesn't quite manage it and ends up in a slight V shape. It's a shame that no one has really seen the Fold yet. We only have a short video to go on and the renders that Samsung have released. It's a slightly different story with the Mate X. As you can imagine, at the launch event there was a mad rush for people to go and take pictures of the thing, which was locked away inside of a cabinet that had just enough room for you to shove your camera lens in and snap a photo. But I did catch a bit of a lucky break after I left the event. Some of the Huawei executives came outside with a Mate X, so I got to have a good close-up look at it in the daylight. Although it's still a prototype, this phone seems very close to completion. How close is anyone's guess, but I have noticed that looking through my footage, there is some kind of slight distortion to the screen along the fold sometimes. Huawei have said the screen is rated to open and close 100,000 times, but there are questions about how long it will last before you start to see wear in that screen. Because of the way Samsung have implemented the design, it requires a second screen and more cameras than the Huawei device. Once folded like a book, the Galaxy Fold will activate its cover screen, which is surrounded on all sides by some very thick bezels. I think personally they should have tried a little bit harder with the front screen to reduce those bezels, if you consider that most people are not going to walk around with this thing unfolded, and in comparison to this phone's nemesis, well, it's just going to put a lot of people off. But things look a little bit different around the back. When it's unfolded, the Samsung does have a better look to it than the Huawei. But I think the Huawei just looks more impressive when you unfold the screen because the fold is on show. The bendy display is hidden on the Samsung, so it's a little bit harder to show off to your friends. But there is one more detail about the Galaxy Fold that I think Samsung should have made a bit more fuss about at their Unpacked launch event. The Fold will launch with 512 gigs of eUFS 3.0 storage. This is the next generation of ultra-fast storage for smartphones. When they announced the S10, they said it will come equipped with eUFS 2.0 storage, which is still top of the line by today's standards, but compared to 3.0, it's slow. Devices equipped with the 3.0 storage should be able to transfer up to 3.7 gigabytes of video in just 3 seconds. Why they didn't make a bigger deal of that at the time, I don't know. Weirdly, even though everybody's seen the Huawei device from every single angle and nobody's seen the Galaxy Fold, we still know more about the Galaxy device than we do about the Mate X. Huawei have said that they have a new Leica triple camera system on the Mate X, but they still haven't released the details of it. It could be that it's because it's the same camera that we're about to see on the P30 Pro next month. But there is actually a fourth hidden camera on the Mate X. When the device is folded and you turn it round to the camera side, the screen automatically switches from the front to the rear, eliminating the need for selfie cameras because you can easily frame a shot with the rear camera. The rumour is that the hidden camera is placed just underneath the camera array and is there to recognise you when you're looking at the phone from the rear. If I had to take a guess, I would say there's probably some kind of 3D sensor like we've seen on the Honor View 20. Because of Samsung's slightly more complicated design, they have fitted it with 6 cameras, 3 on the rear, 2 on the screen side and 1 on the cover. I think the much simpler design from Huawei is probably the way to go with these phones. The Samsung does seem to be a little bit more complicated, with extra cameras and tiny little screens on the front. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful device, but I just think Huawei have kind of smashed it with the Mate X. I mean, who wants a selfie camera anyway? It's never the same quality as what's on the rear. Internally, the matex has the Kirin 980 and the Belong 5000 5G modem. It will come with 8GB of RAM and 512GB of onboard storage. So if you're considering one of these two phones, you probably have to weigh up the options. The fact that the Huawei is 5G capable against the fact that the Galaxy Fold will have the next generation storage options. It will be super fast in a different way to the Huawei. The Samsung will have more RAM at 12GB, but Huawei have hinted at different storage options for the Mate X. Samsung will probably have a 5G version in the works. That combined with the super fast storage would make the Samsung a far more attractive option than it currently is. Based on what we know and can see from these devices, the Samsung seems a bit more durable, but we'll have to wait and see how these new category of handsets hold up over time. Moving parts on a smartphone, is that really a good idea? Anyway, that's it from me. Really excited to get my hands on these devices for testing. As soon as one becomes available, you know I will be all over it. So make sure you're subbed to Btekt, double tap notifications and smash the like button for me. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. It's at Btekt. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. I'm David and this is Btekt.